how's it going? And today I want to show you how to create a collectible item quest system with an automatic countdown timer. Sounds like a lot, but the reason I'm doing this is that I thought that this would be pretty easy to set up, and it actually took me a lot longer than I thought it would. But it's based completely pretty much on event dispatching to update the counter. So I'll show you what I have right now. So what to use this for is, let's say you have a lot of, I imagine that this would be in a lot bigger environment with these collectibles spread out over the environment. And this is just a small environment, but these could be set up in a big landscape environment. And what happens is you could set any number of these. I have 3, but you could set 100 of them down if you wanted. And what happens is you walk up, it says items remaining now is 9. Come here, there's another item, got it? Items remaining 8. There's the last one, items remaining 7. So I really had to do some finagling. It's not that complicated, but it's some little ins and outs that were kind of confusing. So I'll just show you real quickly what I have here. So I have, this is the collectible, and that's all it is. It's just a single item. And then I have a new widget blueprint with the text block here and the items remaining. And then here on the graph, this is our event dispatch to update the counter. And then here we have the logic for the pickup itself. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'm going to start this from scratch, and I'll walk you through this. And like I said, the reason I'm doing this is that it took a lot of finessing to get everything to play out exactly right, and I just wanted to kind of document this particular function. So anyway, thank you very much, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so to get started on this, we're just going to go into create a new third-person project. We don't need any starter content. And as always, I'll try to go as fast as I can. I am guessing this might take about 12 minutes to do. So to start, we'll just be on the content level here. And I'm just going to go ahead and let's make our user interface real fast. So this is just a user widget, and we can just leave it called new widget blueprint. And I'll just go ahead and dock this. We have a lot of work to do on the graph side of this, not so much on the display side. And I'm just going to go into Canvas panel, and we'll just drag that onto the scene. And then we're going to go ahead and just get 2 text, one text here and another text here. And of course you can make this real fancy, but we're not trying to do anything fancy really with it. So I'm just going to drag this one on here, this text block here, and we'll size to content. And we're just going to call this items, items remaining. And then we're just going to go ahead and drag this one over and put it already there. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it here, and we'll go ahead and size that to fit. And this one we should call something, and so I'm just going to call this update values, just so I know what it is. And it is a variable. This is the one that we're going to update with the event dispatcher. So then we'll just compile and save, and that takes care of that. And then we'll be back to that in just a minute here. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our collectible, and this is super easy. We'll just go into Blueprint class, we'll go to Actor, and we're just going to call this BP collectible. And actually this could, I have it as a collectible, but it could also be a location-based quest if you wanted to. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and hit Control-Shift-S, and then I'm going to go ahead and double-click into this. And all I need is a sphere, or whatever object you want. So we'll just get a sphere and drag that onto the scene. That's all we have to do. And then we just need to come over here and search for generate, and make sure generate overlap events is selected. And that's all we have to do for our collectible. And that's what's kind of cool about this, is a collectible can be anything. So it just needs to be stored as a blueprint. Okay, majority of our work is going to actually take place in the thing I think that's unique about this particular system is that it's actually triggered by an overlap. So this is going to be our third person that we go into here, blueprints. We're going to double click here, and we're just going to come up here to the top. And the first thing we're going to search for, the trigger for all this, is the event actor begin overlap. And then we're actually going to need the event actor end overlap. Overlap, end on overlap 2. That'll come up in just a minute here. Okay, so we got that out of the way. And then the next thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and we need to create a variable that's going to be our update value. So we're just going to call this update items. And this is actually going to be an integer. And we'll go ahead and make this public, and we'll compile and save that. And just that's by default, let's just go ahead and set a value for 10. You could modify this as you go along. And then the first thing we're going to do, and this is all very interesting to me, the first thing we're going to do is we want to, so this will be triggered by an overlap. Once I encounter the collectible item, it's going to trigger this, the sphere or whatever the item is, or the location or whatever it is. But I want to make sure that it's not being triggered by everything. So I'm going to go ahead and cast to the BP collectible. BP collectible, so that I make sure that that's what it is. So we'll just go ahead and put this in here. So I'll only trigger by the collectible items and nothing else. If we encounter the item and it doesn't go away right away, and the counter updates, it's going to look weird that the item's hanging around when the counter's already gone ahead. So we need the item to go away, and then we can update our counter. So I found that just through trial and error, and we want that to go away, the sphere to go away. And then the next step on this is we're going to go ahead and create our widget blueprint interface. So create widget, and it's right here, and it's the one we just created, the new one. So we'll go to new widget, and then we can go ahead and add it to the viewport. Of course, that's an obvious next step. Add to viewport, and this goes in there. And then what we want is when we overlap, then we want it to go away, kill it. Then we want to call up our counter. And then what we're going to want to do is when we walk away, we're going to want it to go away. So we're going to go remove from parent here. And we don't necessarily want it to go away right away. We might want it to stick around, so you could adjust this value later, but then we'll put it in a delay here. And depending how far your items are away, this could be for a minute or more, but let's just put in like 4 seconds. And then there is all that. So that's a big part of the whole function. Once it's been added to the viewport, the last thing that we need to do is we're going to do an event dispatch. So this is the rabbit hole that I fell down, and this is why I'm making this tutorial, because I'm trying to use event dispatchers more than I have been. So, and here, this is just going to be called update counter, and then I'm going to drag on here, and we're going to make a call. Whoops, what did I do? Drag on here, call, and we're going to make a call. And its target is itself. So that's it for this side of it here. We don't have to do anything else, and we are done. So I'll just compile and save this. The rest of our work is going to be on the UMG, so we're going to jump over into that right now. And we'll go into the graph section of this, and this is the part that required me to make the most finagling. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to cast to our third person blueprint, and we want to get, among other things, is we want to get that variable so that we can update our, I'll go ahead and get rid of this one right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and get player character. So we'll plug this in here like that, and then moving right along, we're going to go ahead and set the variable, since we're kind of going to be making an object reference here. So set, well, what I can do here is just promote this to a variable so that it sets automatically, and we'll go ahead and make that public, and we'll compile and save that. So this really kind of opens up our line of communication with that other blueprint. So now here's where the event dispatcher comes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and what was the name of it? It's called update counter. Okay, so I'm going to right click and search for update counter, and of course I don't see it there, so that probably means I have to drag from here to be able to see it. So we're going to search again, update counter, and we're looking for bind here. So bind to update counter. Here it is right here, bind to update counter. Okay, and the target is already set for that. And we're going to need a custom event. So we'll just type in add event, add custom event, add custom event. We don't have to worry about what we're calling it there, but we need to have one set up. And I just did a tutorial about the wiring on all this. And then the next thing we're going to do is, believe it or not, we're almost done. We just have a little ways to go. This is the most tedious part of it, and I think this is the reason why people don't do event dispatchers that much. We need to go ahead and get our value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag off here, and we're going to look for that get updated items right here, and we just need that. And now here's where we're going to do our kind of our math on it. So I'm going to pull off of here, and I'm going to search for a subtract node, subtract, and every time we encounter collectible, we're going to subtract 1 point from there. And then the next thing we're going to do, now we can finally update our value here on our graph. So I'm going to say get updated value, and then what I want to do, the other thing I need to do here is I need to set this now. So let me pull off of here and get set update items here. So I need this. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and plug that in there. So this will update our variable. And we'll go ahead and run the chain like this here, like that. And now we're almost on the home stretch. The last part of this is we need to set this one. And that's our variable on the screen on our widget, our display widget. So we're going to look for set. It's text too. So it's set text. It's not a behavior. It's this one right here on our widget. So that's the one we want. And we'll just plug in this exec pin here. And this will auto convert for us our value. And as far as I know, that's it. That's the whole thing. So what we can do is you can take a quick screenshot of that. I'll compile and save this, and I'll show you how this works now. So now if I go back into contents here, I've got my collectible item, and I can drag these down and put these, however many of these as I want. And like I said, these can not only be collectibles, these could be locations as well. So these could be placed in locations that you're trying to get somebody to. And let's see if it works. So I hit play, and hopefully I'll place them in a position I can overlap with them. Oh wait, one thing I didn't do, I know I just crashed into that. So on the sphere, I needed to set the overlap all dynamics. So I need to look under collision and not block all dynamics, but overlap all dynamics. Compile and save that. Now let's try that again. Some of these might be up too high, so let me escape and just drag some of these down. These look too high. I do have to be able to overlap with them. Okay, so let's try it. Let's see what happens. 9 remaining. 8 remaining. Seems to be working. Yep, 7. 6. Well, you saw, I don't know if you saw that, but if the items are too close, they start overriding each other. So I don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice that? So let's try that again. And I'll go a little bit slower. So it may be that the delay needs to be shortened, or I need to place the items farther apart. Let's see, here's one. 9 items remaining. So that goes away. 8 items remaining. Goes away. 7. 6. Because then what happens is they start overriding each other. There, that's basically it. So what I'd want to do to probably address that is shorten the delay or space the collectibles farther apart so that it goes off the screen before, so you're not overlapping those UMGs, those widgets. That's all I had for today. I hope you found this helpful. I think this is a real great use of the event dispatcher and setting up a system for notifying someone that they've collected so many items, that they've gone to so many locations and things like that. That's all I had for today, so take care and have a great day.